The border between the United States and Mexico is 1,954 miles, more or less. More than 300 million people, 90 million cars and 4.3 million trucks go through the border every year. It is the busiest border in the world. Since NAFTA was signed in the 90s, the increase has gone up about 50%. It is a massive, massive border with a massive number of people who cross it. It stretches through desert and river and mountain, rural areas, urban areas, farmland. And it is not all secured. It's not all secured. Parts of it, there are border walls. But in a lot of it, they rely on the terrain to be inhospitable. You know who is trained to deal with inhospitable territory? Special forces. And not just of the United States of America. Let me tell you a pattern that we've seen at our southern border. It's a pattern that goes back all the way to the Bush administration. It's not just Biden, it's not Trump, it's not Obama. It didn't stop during Trump. It didn't stop during Obama or Biden. It hasn't stopped. It's been going on for quite a while. What happens is the coyotes hired by the drug cartels, the coyotes are the people hired to get people across the border. The coyotes cause a disturbance. They send people across the border. They send them into the wilderness, into the wilds where no one is, but they know through their intelligence it's where the Border Patrol is. So they send a large number of people across the border into the wilds of southern Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, where the border wall is not and where the barrier is land and mountain and rugged terrain. And they know the Border Patrol is out there waiting, and they send a pile of people, a mass of people, a swarm of people across the border into the arms of the Border Patrol. And given the number of people, the Border Patrol calls in more resources. So more resources show up to process the mass number of people. And once all the Border Patrol agents get there, further down the line or further up the Rio Grande, the cartels send more people across. This time, a handful, not dozens. Not hundreds, just a handful with backpacks, with weapons and drugs. And because the Border Patrol is overwhelmed by the large number the coyotes had sent downstream, they're not there for those who go in upstream. And they get away into the night. We know this happens. We catch them on surveillance cameras. My buddy Chip Roy, who was on my program yesterday, congressman from Texas, has told the story a couple of times of this happening. And when the people get across the border who are not detained, who are not captured, who are going off into the night, they shoot up flares or fire guns so the Border Patrol knows some people have gotten away. 2 Iranians who were flagged in the terror list have been detected at the border in the last 48 hours. We've had Lebanese, Afghanis, Iranians, Iraqis, Yemeni, Chinese, Russians. Those are the ones we caught. How many have gotten away? How many have gotten away? We have no idea. We estimate about 500,000 people have crossed the border undetected and gotten away in the last 2 years. 500,000. That's an army. Now, most of them are just people who are lucky enough to get away, some of them drug dealers. But all you need is a handful of them to be in militaries, to be terrorists, to mean no good, no goodwill to the United States, to know how to take out the power grid, to be carrying plastic explosives, to be able to lay in wait, sleeper cells, waiting for a signal to act. This isn't far-fetched. Kevin McCarthy has warned about it. The FBI director has warned about it. The Biden administration knows it's true and refuses to do anything about it. This is a national security issue. It is the polling question that Biden performs worse on than anything else. Only 24% of Americans support what Joe Biden is doing to secure the border because he's not securing the border. Only 24% of Americans like his handling of the border. He has opened us up to vulnerability. And God forbid an attack come. It'll mean the end of the Biden presidency. It will. Democrats will cover for him, but it'll mean the end of the Biden presidency. And as much as I would like to end the Biden presidency, I don't want to end it that way. With the death of Americans, the destruction of our infrastructure by terrorists who sneaked across the border, that'd be terrible. But it's a very real possibility. I don't say this to freak you out. I don't say this to panic you. I don't say this to be a conspiracist. I say this to be a realist. There are real implications to an unsecure border, and 2 Iranians in the past 48 hours who were on the terror list have been detained. How many got away? We don't know. And that this administration refuses to take the matter seriously, they treat it as a political football instead of a national security liability, is really troubling. And it's something that we need to keep talking about and paying attention to and remind voters that the decisions of the American public as to who they put in the White House, they matter greatly.